Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Rachel, we've talked about this before, that people like you and I have been saying this forever, that, this is why we love alpha liberals, right? That, and your book is Hit 'em Where It Hurts, right? And Tim Walz, isn't he a perfect example? He made weird take off, and it obviously is getting under their skin like nothing else, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the kind of marketing, that we need, right? It's a 4-letter word, 5-letter word, weird. Everyone knows what it means. You don't need an SAT education, college level education to be able to understand the message, right? These people are weird. And I'm so delighted because we've normalized all this weirdness.
Thank you.
We take it in and debate it on the merits. And I'm like, stop doing that and just reject it at the very top end because it is Looney Tunes stuff, right? I mean, so that it's so important that we do that. And I think he's going to be a great pick. And I'll tell you something else about this man that maybe you guys don't know.
Okay.
But in Minnesota, when Minnesota was de-aligning from the right and becoming more liberal of a liberal place, he picked up a red to blue district, served it in 10 years, held that swing district for 10 years. So he knows how to campaign. This is not somebody who's never been tested electorally.
Well, I keep hearing the word, Rachel, over and over again, joy. Like I keep saying about Kamala, oh my God, joy is back in our politics. She's a happy warrior. And that's I felt like he matched her energy the best. I didn't even know who he was when this whole thing started. And then just watching him, you go, oh my God, he has that same, he can hit him where it hurts, like Rachel Bitterkofer would say, but in a Minnesota nice way, where he has that, what's the, online thing, the, big dad energy, right?
And perfect. And I was glad that you mentioned that, Steph, because probably the most important thing for people to know in terms of messaging and the optics of this race, he has a daughter who is 8 years old, who would not exist without IVF. They struggled for years, him and his wife, to have kids. So he knows better than anyone what these dangerous national abortion bans that Republicans want to shove down our throat would do, not only to women, but to families who are looking to have kids. I think it's going to be a really compelling way to, kind of highlight that extremist abortion policy.
And, Rachel, it was like all the jockeying and fantasy football that was going on before Biden dropped out. I was like, before this happened, I'm like, stop with the purity tests. It is her choice only. It is who she feels comfortable with. That being said, I trusted her judgment, and I think she made absolutely the right pick for a myriad of reasons, don't you?
I do. I think he's an incredibly strong pick. I think, my father's a great example of this. He's an uncomfortable Republican, so he's going to vote for Democrats this time around, right? And, he looked at Walz and he likes what he sees, right? This is a guy that, is surrounded by children signing free lunch. And somebody else tweeted out the juxtaposition of that bill signing with Tim Walz, and the kids are just all over him and they're all excited with Republican Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, draconian labor laws, right? And you show the kids behind her, they all look like they're headed off into the coal mines, right? Glum. It's just a great contrast. And I think people are underestimating him electorally if you think he's a guy that's just hung out in Minnesota and never done any rough and tumble. But he does what I call bless your heart, hit him where it hurts, and always try to tell people it doesn't always have to be very out loud and outlandish. It just needs to it can do it politely and with a smile. And I think he's really deliver that.
Yeah. I mean, as opposed to Donald Trump's just meanness and nastiness and racism and misogyny, I get a feeling, it's just a feeling, better than I do probably, from what you do. I just get a feeling of exhaustion. People are just tired of Donald Trump's bull,
Yeah. And I do a lot of monitor for regular media. Yeah. So when I tell people no one watches the news, and I get it down to 15% of people are watching not Fox News,
right?
30% of people watch news, but half of them are watching fake news. I monitor what they mean by news is GMA, the Today Show, The View. Okay, right. They don't mean Rachel Maddow at 9 p.m.
Right.
So yesterday I was on sports radio. I spent quite a bit of time there because I'm a college football buff. And I heard Colin Cowherd talking about, I was flipping the channels and I came across CNN and Kamala was on there. I ended up watching it for 2 hours because it was so refreshing to see hope and optimism.
I know. I do that too. I go out of my way to find clips of her speaking. She's just electric. I mean, I just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like that rally in Atlanta, insane. And she did 30 minutes, concise. The place went crazy. Look at Donald Trump. He blathers on for 90 minutes, and half the people are gone before he's even. They've heard it all before, and it's. So, and also just the vice president pick, I was thinking, boy, if anyone knows better than she, right, she is vice president. So she knows what that role is, what that process is. She saw how Biden worked with Obama. You know, she knows how she worked. And I just think she was the perfect person to make an excellent choice like this. So I just feel like, do you feel like there's going to be a polling bump? Because I feel like the enthusiasm's already through the roof, right?
Yeah, no, like one advantage of knowing me is you know, a lot of the analysts can tell you what things are like right now, and my forte is telling you how things are going to be, right? So on the day of the switch, I tweeted out, this is going to change everything. All the old data on Harris is inconsequential. You can't use that data because it's not in the same mindset to the voter, right?
That's what I said. Yep.
My anticipation was we would quickly see her start to make gains in that two-party vote share in the polling, and that when we got to the convention time, we'd be coming in probably with her establishing, like, basically the race inverting from where it was. Trump had a solid advantage for months. We're going to see that invert. We're seeing that happen now, that inversion. And when we get to the convention come out, my guess is in September, when the election really starts, folks, because believe it or not, for other people, it hasn't even started yet, that we're going to see probably a 3 to 5 point national polling advantage for Harris in the national polls. And we'll see maybe 60-40 on the forecast. So I think we're going to be in a very strong position come September.
Yeah. Rachel, I'm sure people say this to you all the time, because even those of us that marinate in this, the fact that, because I don't know, one poll I saw, you know, she was up 1 point or 2 points nationally. The fact that this traitorous 34 count convicted felon rapist could even be close is sort of astounding. And I always quote you. You gave a great interview with our friend Bob Seska, just talking about how tribal we are as a, you know, that the Republicans, like day one of the Biden administration, I heard you say, said, oh, the economy sucks. Because now it's Biden's economy. I mean, that's the interesting thing, right? Is people, I think it still is like they don't want to feel like losers or like they were wrong, you know, about Trump, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's what my life mission is all about, is getting people to understand how strong partisanship is. Because we have this low info electorate, because we have, you know, most Americans unable to tell you who represents them in Congress. That's the reality of regular people. They don't even know who their Congress member is. You know, that stuff is very powerful, and the party heuristic is the be all end all. So the front half of my book is completely focused on getting people, especially people who like us and who listen to people like us, to understand how atypical we are. We are freaks of information. Yeah. We have an interest in politics that other people don't have. And, you know, that causes us to know things that other people don't know. What the electorate does know is the president, the sitting president, and the two parties and their rough, like, brand awareness of those two parties.
Yeah.
And that's really where Republicans have been effective at branding us the last 10 years, and now we're catching up with that, trying to return the favor.
Well, you did a great thread, as you do. You just, Republicans for Harris tweeted, when did Donald Trump lose your vote? We just played Olivia Troy. And you just... like, you forget half the things because there's always new criming. But you said, was it when he was on video laughing about sexually assaulting women? Was it when Paul Manafort shared campaign internals with Putin? Was it when you found out he paid off a porn star to win in 2016 from the Oval Office? Was it when he tried to bribe the Ukrainian president into hurting Joe Biden to get defense weapons? I just had Colonel Vindman on. I had to ask him, I forgot which crime this was. That's right. This was...
Yes. Early crime.
Right. But you said, was it when reports surfaced he turned the presidency into his personal piggy bank? Was it the time he accidentally gave 2 Russians our classified info? Was it the moment he stood side by side with Putin and talked about sending him American diplomats to torture? Was it the photo ops with Kim Jong-un that put our flag next to North Korea's? Well, there's 5 more examples just from 2 days, the last 2 days that you haven't even gotten to yet, right?
Yeah, I mean, number one, I popped that out. I wasn't all inclusive. I left some stuff off, so there should be some more. But what I'm trying to do with that is I'm just trying to remind. I'm fighting something. My 4 years of studying the Third Reich and World War II has taught me how powerful optimism bias is. Okay, and what I want to remind people is, like, look at all the red lines this party has blown through. Okay, look at all these red lines These are all things like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, okay, not 3, but 5 years ago, it said, would the American public stomach Jan 6? And the answer is like, no, right? So like, I'm just trying to remind people, like I have people all the time who say to me, like real, sincere, well, do you really think that if he wins, Trump's going to seize Tower and do, I just want to hear a part of Jan 6, right? And just poke it up and be like, yeah, I really do. I really thought the first time they weren't going to transfer power peacefully, and look what happened. Right?
And also because he said so.
We have to accept, like, that we're we're in a hot pot that has been, set
boiling.
into boil. It's like we're boiling in it now, right?
I mean, this is the rest of your thread. Was it in 2020 when his official position became "heads I win, tails you lose," and forever ruined America's confidence in their own elections? That's one of the biggest things, I think, Rachel, is that what percentage of people don't believe in elections because of one orange idiot whose ego couldn't stand that he lost. And so you say, was it after he refused to concede, drew a mob to the Capitol, sent them after Congress? Was it when it became clear he led a party-wide coup, plot across multiple swing states, and tried to take over the DOJ to stay in power? Was it when you found out he stole and hid boxes of classified intel, including top-secret intel in the bathroom at his club? We cannot memory hole all this stuff, Rachel. I mean, that's part of what we're up against, isn't it, as Americans' attention span?
It really is. And like, here's the thing is I said that once people tune in, we're going to see a different election. That was under Biden. Okay. After the debate, but we managed a miracle. We have switched our candidate. We have Biden make the most personal sacrifice any human could possibly make in the modern era, walk away from presidential power. And now we're in this really great spot to argue the case against Republicans and to make sure that we remind them what happened the first time Donald Trump was in office. Because I don't know if he spent a lot of time online like I do. So, it's like this alt world where everything was great from 2016 to 2020. They don't mention the pandemic here. They told people that it was all Biden, right? So we have to remind America where it was November of 2020, and where it was terrified of Donald Trump, right? So like we have to make sure people remember that.